Hey there, it's Angie with the Guillette Group, and we are so honored today to have one of our business partners, Jason Lane with Lane Insurance Group here. And we're going to give you the scoop on everything you need to know about homeowners insurance in Florida. So Jason, what a lot of people don't know about being here down in Southwest Florida is that we actually have multiple deductibles on our policies. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure, Angie. Yeah, most, I guess most, if not all, I hate speaking in totality, but most homeowners policies in Florida contain two deductibles. One is all AOP, or all other peril, and the other one is hurricane. And what we mean by hurricane, the definition of hurricane is anytime a storm gets a name, which usually when it gets to about the Nevis Island in the Caribbean, they'll name it. So Donna, Maria, Ivan. We don't like Irma. Try not to say that anymore. But once it gets a name, it'll fall under your hurricane deductible. And mostly you'll find a 2% hurricane deductible for all homeowners insurance in Florida. Now that's 2% of your coverage A, which is the value of your dwelling. So for instance, let's say roughly a 2,000 square foot home is roughly insured at $350,000. That's reconstruction cost. And 2% of $350,000 would be a $7,000 hurricane deductible. Now, at Lane Insurance Group, we do have a few options. One, I can't say it's disappearing, that's trademarked, but it goes away after about 5 renewals on your homeowner's insurance policy. And of course, where you can price out different deductibles, $500,000, $2,500. But most policies you'll see is about 2%. So definitely something to look forward to coming to Florida and realize it's a lot different from the rest of the country.
So flood insurance, obviously we are close to water here in Florida. So do all homes have to have flood insurance, or how does that work?
It's a good question, Angie. The reality of it is nobody has to have flood insurance. Where you're gonna find you need it is if you take a loan out on the property. And the question is, when do banks, I guess, require flood insurance would be a better question. And that's when the home is in what we call anything other than an X zone. So in X zone, the bank is going to say you don't need it. Anything other than an X zone, you're going to need flood insurance. So my home, for instance, I live in Naples, and I'm in an X zone, and I bought it a while back when I first got into the industry. And the bank did not require me to get in flood insurance. Well, in comes Hurricane Irma, and my house was basically an island surrounded by water, and I had to drive about 2 miles before I can get out of the water. So I guarantee you, and I was very nervous. So for peace of mind and knowing that my house almost flooded during Irma, I went ahead and purchased it moving forward. So like I say, anything other than an X zone, the bank will require you to have flood insurance. In an X zone, it's, I just got my renewal, I think it's $572 for the year for $250,000 on the dwelling and $100,000 contents. So your furniture and your appliances and whatnot.
If you are required to have that flood insurance, how do you figure out how much it is gonna cost?
Well, very good question. Because most flood insurance is run through the federal government. So people say, can we decide prices? Can I shop my flood insurance? You cannot. The federal government decides what the prices are. And the way we determine that is something called an elevation certificate. And what that tells us, basically, the federal government comes in and maps areas it seems like every 2 or 3 years down here they map it. But what it tells us is, they go down your street, they look at your house and your property, and they say, the base flood zone, or the base flood elevation for your property is, call it 8 feet. So 8 feet above sea level. So what we then look for with the elevation certificate is, where is the base floor for the dwelling itself? So if the base flood zone is 8 feet, we want to see it at 10 feet. So you want to be above the base flood. And most houses down here, I'd say built probably 90s and newer, are above the base flood. What you really need to take a look at is houses built in the 70s, 80s. We don't have a lot down here, but when you have the Fort Myers area, you just find some houses. Just saw one in the 1950s. It was 4 foot below base flood, and it was, I think, $7,000 a year for their flood. And just so you know, the base flood is what the federal government says is the 100-year floodplain. So we're going to have one of these every 100 years. How they predict the future, I don't know.
So we have a lot of new construction happening here in Southwest Florida, like a lot of places of the country. And we get asked oftentimes, which insurance policies should we be using? And sometimes somebody will say to me, oh, they quoted me $50 a month, which I know is significantly less than the coverage that we have on our home. So what advice would you give to people in that type of situation so they know what to look for?
Well, first off, let me tell you, I've seen some of those policies that developers crank out, and I'm not sure if they're actually domiciled here in Florida, the people that are quoting it, but they certainly don't know what's going on here in Florida. For instance, one I just saw, it had about $350,000 coverage on the dwelling. The dwelling would have cost $450,000 to replace. It also had no replacement cost on contents. And it's an important coverage, and let me explain why. For instance, most of the houses in our community are going for top dollar right now. We know that. It's a hot market, and you're not gonna go and buy furniture at a yard sale. So if you don't have replacement cost coverage on your contents, they will depreciate the content. So for instance, the house burns or gets ruined during a hurricane. I've had both happen. And they're gonna say, well, that couch is 6 years old. Its expected life, its life expectancy is 10 years. We're gonna depreciate that couch by 70%, and we're gonna give you whatever is $1,000 for that $5,000 couch. Definitely have that coverage on there. And the other thing I would say is also find yourself an independent insurance agent, whether it's me or a few of the other ones around here. State Farm and Allstate, I think State Farm's writing some policies now, but they pulled out of the market for a while. I don't know if they're back in. And Allstate themselves, I don't think, as a company, writes insurance policies anymore in the state of Florida. I mean, feel free to call them as well, but I say find yourself an independent insurance agent, talk over your coverages, ask them what's going on. And one other thing I would say is, see the replacement cost estimator. And the replacement cost estimator is where we have a program and we put everything in about your dwelling, the flooring, the countertops, square footage, roofing, you name it. And then that gives us a number so we can try to get an accurate number on what it would actually cost to replace your dwelling. So if something did happen, God forbid, but I get them every day, a lot during Irma, you want to make sure you're going to rebuild your house just like it was, and not with, you're not going to rebuild your house with used furniture, and you definitely want to make sure there's enough money, because not that there's a lot of price gouging going on, but especially after a hurricane, prices in construction seem to go up. So review those coverages, look at the replacement cost estimator, and ask questions of your agent, whoever it may be. That's what we're here for.
So we've seen quite an increase in our insurance amounts over the last year and a half. So why is that?
Yes, Angie, thanks for the question. And let me first acknowledge that yes, homeowners insurance rates are going up in the state of Florida. And I think one of the best ways to explain it is citing some statistics from an article I read, and these are 2019 statistics, that 8% of all homeowners insurance claims came from the state of Florida. Not only that, 76% of all lawsuits against homeowners insurance companies came from the state of Florida. So lawsuits are expensive. So where's all the money going? All the money is going to lawyers and roofers, basically. But the nice thing about Lane Insurance Group is once you're in our system, if you do have a price increase, we'll see it and we'll rerun you. Once you're in our system, all it takes is we change the dates, we hit a button, and it runs you with all our companies once again. So we make sure you pay the best rate for the best coverage.
So Jason, we would love to thank you for spending some time with us today and giving us all these great tidbits about what is happening with insurance here in Florida.
Thank you for having me, Angie. And let me reiterate my website, laneinsurancegroup.com, phone number 239-947-7474. let me say, even if you're just thinking about buying a home in Florida and want to talk and ask some questions, give us a call. We've done it in the past for your clients, Angie.
Yep.
Happy to talk to you at any time. Thanks for having me.
And if you want to reach us, you can catch us on all of our social media channels. You can schedule time directly with us through the Calendly link below. My number is 239-246-2322. And don't forget to check out this video. It'll give you everything you need to know about what's the status of our current real estate market here in Southwest Florida.